This is gonna get me some flack from a few different analysts, and perhaps it's not such a good idea so soon after wading into the World of Warriors analysis, but I want to say my piece. Jayfeather's pretty much an asshole, and I really don't like him that much. Disclaimer. This is strictly opinion-based, and I'm not saying I hate him. He makes good points and can have funny lines. Even so, give me my time to make my statement, and no one needs to agree or disagree with my own personal feelings, as the points I make may be why the person in question likes Jayfeather as a character. With that out of the way, I'll start with what I do like about him, alright? Is that fair? I do like his independence. He wants no help from anyone, knowing that just because he's blind doesn't mean he's helpless. Honestly, the fact that he's one of the three and holds an important position in the clan hierarchy is kind of a message of hope for disabled fans reading about him. I'll come back to that point a little bit later though, so keep it in mind. When he's not being scathing and abrasive, his lines can be really funny. Calling out StarClan for vague prophecies is something everyone's long wanted to say, and though it does nothing to actually clear up the prophecy, it's a bit of a relief from blind, excuse the term, faith. Even if the prophecies are somewhat simple to parse the general meaning of, but I can't say such for everyone. Also, when he was J-Kid, he was ridiculously cute and endearing. He was a kid with a disability that didn't understand why he was being treated differently, and that frustration felt organic, because he was still a, mostly, happy, adventurous, playful kid. I even have to praise the first few chapters of the site, and I won't be the first person to do so. When I first read it, back when it first came out, I didn't notice that nothing written from J-Kid's perspective was described by sight. It's sense, feelings, sounds, and the only time he sees anything is when he's dreaming post-accident. You never notice until he says it outright. Once he becomes J-Paw, however, he's desperate to become a warrior despite his blindness, and to their credit, Firestar and the rest of the clan are willing to try and accommodate him. They give him Brightheart as a mentor and Longtail as an advisor, who try their absolute best to help J-Paw achieve his dream. And he is, pardon the language, an actual to the both of them. I understand feeling patronized and the frustration that comes from it. You aren't incompetent in the slightest, and it feels like people are trying to tell you things you already know and giving you tasks that are child's play for you. Even then, they're trying their best. No one person is going to have the same experiences, but when they're jumping through hoops to try and help you achieve your goals, to try and understand, that deserves at least a little bit of sympathy. After all, wasn't that meant to be your power, J-Paw? He's even caustic towards Leafpool once he and Hollypaw switch apprenticeships. He never wanted to be a medicine cat, and he feels forced into it just because of his disability and a bunch of dead cats saying so. Which is understandable, because I'd be pretty pissed too. But this is a pretty hard, albeit necessary, lesson to learn.
But sometimes, you just gotta know when to bail.
He can't be a warrior, and that sucks. Even so, he has a mind for herbs and powers that let him into minds and emotions. He was meant for this position, and that's the hand he was dealt. In Leafpool's words, he needs to deal with it. This attitude hardly improves further into his apprenticeship, and even when he becomes a full medicine cat with his own apprentice. Oh yeah, there's no forgetting his raking of Alderpaw and Twigkit through the coals. Reminds me of some English teachers I've had. Now that I think on it, he's a Dr. House XP. Terrible bedside manner, cynical yet witty, on occasion, generally an asshole to everyone including his own crew, but still a medical genius. And I never liked Dr. House either, so there we are. We've had the crotchety though brilliant medicine cat before in Yellowfang. Her tongue was sharp and she didn't suffer fools gladly. Even so, for all her curmudgeonly ways, I believed in Yellowfang's devotion to medicine and her clan. She even had a power like Jayfeather's, though that was really only shared in the special edition that some view as really awful. She even trained as a warrior prior to switching paths, all because of her destiny. She fought it like he fought it, though she takes to it well. Jayfeather, though, has none of her warmth underneath the barbs. Any emotion I feel from him seems artificial unless it's loathing, annoyance, or angst, whether it be from his romance with Half Moon to him playing around with his brother in Bramblestar Storm. Switching from warrior to medicine cat isn't uncommon either. Hawkheart, Cinderpelt, and even Alderheart started out with warrior training, with little to no angst about switching over their focus. Oh, we'll talk about Cinderpelt. Remember when I said Jayfeather could be a kind of role model for disabled fans of the series? That holds just as true for Cinderpelt, and I'd say even more so. What happened to Cinderpelt was an accident. She just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, falling into a trap meant for someone else. For a long time, as she recuperated in the medicine den, Cinderpelt felt worthless and hopeless, especially as she learned she could never be a warrior. Being given the chance to become a medicine cat was more than just something for Cinderpelt to do with her time. It gave her a reason for hope, and she regained her enthusiasm and love for life that she once put fully into her warrior duties. Not once did she let her disability slow her down, or let presumed pity sour her attitude. She wanted to be a warrior, but when her path diverged, she accepted what was before her. In the end, she got to be a warrior, just for a few moments. Which is why I'm upset about the whole Cinderheart Cinderpelt thing, oh boy. This can even apply to Briarlight, who, after becoming paralyzed, found a new reason to keep going, though she'd never be a warrior. Despite some understandable depression, she keeps up being cheerful and helpful whenever she can. This goes for Brightheart as well. Jayfeather becomes cynical and angry about everything, though he was born blind. He wanted to be a warrior, and even far into his full medicine cat status, he rages about it not being fair, about this not being what he wanted. His skill and talent means nothing if it doesn't help what he wants. In the end, it isn't that I hate him, because I really, really, really don't. I just find more things to dislike than to like. Still, I might just be a hypocrite. My favorite is Hollyleaf. At least they aren't Breezepelt.